Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It is once again a new week in 9.1, and this is supposed to be the final week for the final chapter of the campaign for Chains of Domination. I have heard that this was not possible to be either seen or done or investigated on the PTR because it was so heavily encrypted that it couldn't be data mined. So, from what I've heard, it's very possible that a lot of this has not even been spoiled for anyone because they couldn't data mine it in order to spoil it. So this is going to be interesting to try and see and find out what is going to happen in this final chapter that they wanted to be kept such a secret that they encrypted it so much that it couldn't be data mined by the people at, say, Wowhead. So, I did the thing to get 1,000 anima, super easy to get the renown I need to unlock it, so let's head to Korthia and pick it up and get started.
Our enemy is relentless.
I fear our efforts to stop Zoval have been thwarted, mortal. A doorway has been opened to a forbidden realm.
Oh, okay, so I think this is very clearly talking about what oh, okay, so actually I'm gonna get to show you this. So I think this is very clear. This is assuming that either you have done the raid, or if you haven't, this is letting you know,
oh, this is what happened at the end of the raid. A doorway has been opened to a forbidden realm, and the Banished One has reclaimed the power taken from him long ago. I sense your allies returning from the Sanctum of Domination. I must know every detail of what transpired.
Speak to Thrall and witness the end of the battle in Torghast.
You must not falter. Your allies approach, mortal. We tried to stop her, to stop them both. We failed.
The jailer is gone, and he's taken Anduin with him.
Then the day I long dreaded has finally come to pass.
I have seen Sylvanas Windrunner in battle. She's always been a formidable foe, but I've never seen her wield power like that.
So I believe this is going to show the cutscene that happens at the end of the raid. So I was planning on showing this to you guys when we did the LFR battle, so it made more sense and we had a bit more context, so you could actually see the battle unfold. And I'll try to show it to you anyway, because I'll try and show it on LFR. But I guess we're going to go ahead and see it now, and then we will talk about it, because, oh boy, do I want to talk about this.
We already have what we need!
Too long I endured the Maker's flawed design. I will forge a new reality, where all shall serve.
I will never serve.
Still shade.
will not let him reach me.
So, there's a lot to talk about, unpack. Again, I will try and show the lead up to that cutscene, which is what takes place during the Sylvanas boss battle, in the raid. So you can see, like, what happens before that. That kind of leads into that. Nothing too important to know before that. It's just kind of like, we're kind of witnessing what's happening there taking place as a lead up. In fact, this week, Wing 3 of Sanctum of Domination LFR went live. So that's the wing that features the Guardian, Fate Scribe, and Kel'Thuzad. So I'll be able to show that to you guys. And then 2 weeks from now, I'll be able to finally show you the Sylvanas boss battle in LFR. But anyways, so let's talk, because we gotta talk. We have to talk about that cutscene. Oh man. So he gets the final key. I like his appearance change. I always like what suits of armor and such, kind of like that, kind of showing as if they have kind of like gone to another level of power and such. And you can see the hole in his chest now is filled and it's gone, and it's kind of, some have said it looks very much like a Drust, which, if there is a connection there now between the Drust and the Scourge, that can make sense in terms of how they work and function. The fact, that if he is very closely connected to the Drust, and seeing the having both the Drust and the Scourge have power that comes from the Jailer and such, that would be interesting. I don't know if I like that or not, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess. I've heard some people talk about this in regards to the Jailer and what he's doing, getting these sigils. They've been comparing him to Thanos, that he's getting these sigils and he's going to undo reality. Very similar to kind of the idea that Thanos was gathering the Infinity Gauntlets and then going to snap his fingers so that he could be able to make a drastic change to the universe with half the population gone and all that, to achieve what he believed was the right thing to do. I will say, though, that here's I will agree on one thing I've heard some people say, which is that Thanos had a number of movies and a whole bunch of time built up to him in order for this to make more sense and to give more of his backstory, to make him a more interesting and complex character, that he wasn't just a type of villain, that there was more layers to him, more complexity to him, and that, some people debated that he was right, with his goal and his mentality, and some of the lines that he would say, like that he believed he was the only one with the will to do what he believed was necessary, and that Gamora would say, "You don't know that," and he goes, "I'm the only one who knows that." It was stuff that was very well done, in my opinion, when it came to establishing and helping give more fleshing out to Thanos' character. They really haven't done that much of that when it comes to the Jailer, in my opinion, unless you want to count what they've done with the Lich King, but at the same time, we didn't know that was the Jailer. We thought the Lich King was a separate character. In fact, in some ways, I almost think it is, but that's a whole separate discussion. Yeah, I don't know. It almost feels kind of... I'm okay with them going about it that way if they do it right. I'm not one of those who I'm like, they're just copying the stuff with Thanos. I have no problem with that if they do it well, if they do something good with it, I'm not one of those who's like opposed to, things that have been done or tropes or copying something else that's already been done, as long as you do it well or right. If you do it terribly or sloppy, then yeah, shame, you should have done that better. So yeah, that's in regards to the Jailer. Now we have to talk about the big elephant in the room in regards to that. And something that I have, of course, been kind of not looking forward to. Because here's the thing. First off, let me get this clear and out of the way. I've never liked Sylvanas. Even going back to Warcraft 3, when we first met her, I didn't like her back then. And I never liked her going forward. She continued to do things that I didn't like, that rubbed me the wrong way. The way she would act, the way she would just disregard, innocent people getting killed or others and just like, whatever, That kind of stuff, I disliked her, in the same regard that I disliked Garrosh. They were both people that just couldn't have cared less about other people and whether or not they died or not, and were even willing to murder innocent civilians to get what they wanted. That's why neither of them were ever, a war chief that I ever got behind. So, because my characters in the Horde are not interested in bloodthirsty murdering of civilians. But hey, I guess that's just me, Forgive me for putting that kind of real life thing into my characters in video games, but yeah. So, no, I've never liked Sylvanas. And while I am someone who it's there's a lot to think about and unpack when it comes to this, so I've been dreading this coming because I knew it was coming. I could tell that what they were wanting to do with Sylvanas, and it's partly because there are so many Sylvanas fans out there, and there seemed to be this appeal to want to, or this, not appeal, there seemed to be this, telegraphed interest in wanting to appeal to the fans of Sylvanas by having her redeemed. And I knew it was coming. I could tell this is what they were wanting to do. It was very clear early on that they were setting up a Sylvanas redemption story. I could see it coming a mile away. And I knew it was coming, and I was dreading it. I was really hoping it wasn't going to be just incredibly forced, that it would actually make some kind of sense, or if it would be done well or right. I'm one of those who is, I'm one of those who defends Arthas, and I'm one of those who defends Sarah Kerrigan, because of the circumstances around them and the choices they had to make, or whether it be in the case of Sarah Kerrigan that she wasn't really responsible for what happened when she was the Queen of Blades, because that wasn't really her, that was a separate entity. Now, what she did in Heart of the Swarm, that's a whole separate debatable issue, because that was actually her, and she still made those choices, but she had different motivations and a different mentality, so it's understandable why she would do some of those things. I'm one of those who defends those kind of characters and such. When people argue whether or not they should be redeemed, when the issue to me wasn't whether or not they need to be redeemed in the first place. Sylvanas is not Arthas or Kerrigan. Sylvanas, at least I always believed that Sylvanas had done those things under her own will and power, that she made those choices on her own, that she did Teldrassil of her own free will, that she chose to burn down Teldrassil and kill thousands of innocent people by her own choice. Now, with this whole the jailer returning her soul to her, people have been speculating that what we are about to get is that because her soul is now back, that she is now going to have this whole, I wouldn't have done those things, I can't believe I did those horrible things, what kind of monster was I, and, that because her soul is back, she's now going to all of a sudden be a far better person, that she's going to have such guilt and regret about those things that she did when she didn't have her soul, because she would claim that she would normally do that stuff if she had her soul with her, and I'm sorry, it just feels so forced. Like they are so wanting to try and put Sylvanas on the same kind of redemption path as characters such as Arthas, Kerrigan, and even Illidan. Because people thought, they want to redeem Illidan Legion, even though that wasn't really the case, but, I digress. And I'm sorry, that one line just, okay. I do like that when he started to, tell her about how they will all serve me, that for in her mind she started to hear echoes of when she had heard the same thing from the likes of Death Knight Arthas and the Lich King. I like that touch. That was nice to hear those voices in there. I thought that was really cool. But that moment where she fires that arrow, it's just like, oh my gosh, because I knew it was going to happen. It just felt so forced. And then she says, I will never serve. You have been serving him. You've been serving him this whole time, and you're now like, oh, no, now I won't serve. I will never serve you, even though I actually have been this whole time. And I'm sorry, this is what Anduin was trying to tell you before, and you just shrugged it off like, it's not true. And all of a sudden, because he reveals it to you, now all of a sudden you realize this, that, oh, I guess Anduin actually was right. I mean, were you not just not using your brain and not thinking about this clearly from a logical standpoint, Sylvanas? Were you just so ignorant and just unwilling to see the truth about this that you just didn't even want to bother, like, considering the possibility? Now all of a sudden, oh, I guess he was right. Well, I'll never serve you now, even though I actually have been this whole time. And I'm not the only one that's had this reaction. I've seen plenty of reaction videos to this cutscene when she says, I will never serve. And people have been immediately reacting with, you have been serving him. It's such a blatant, just in-your-face kind of like, huh? You know, that doesn't make sense because you have been serving him, and just, it's so forced. And I can't stand it when this kind of thing is so incredibly forced that it makes no sense. It's just, especially when it's for a character that I've never liked and I don't think really deserves this. Again, I'm one of those who is a defender of Illidan, Kerrigan, and Arthas, but not Sylvanas. Sylvanas does not fall into the same category as those characters. But I'm concerned they are about to try and force that to happen by simply doing this thing now where her soul has been returned to her. So this is now going to make her a good person. Now she's going to be a good person that never would have done those horrible, horrible things that she's done over the years. And yeah, I'm obviously not okay with it. I also like the nice touch of Anduin dropping the compass, because whereas before he didn't have complete control over him, and whereas before with Arthas, he kept Jaina's locket on him even when he was the second Lich King. He kept Jaina's locket with him and those other things that we found if you do the Shadowmourne questline, and we find those items that belonged to him and had memories for other people, like Jaina's locket, the little practice sword with Muradin, and other little pieces like that. That showed that there wasn't an entire control over Arthas because he still kept those things when the Lich King and the Jailer would not have cared about those things. Here, we know how much that compass means to Anduin. We know how much he cares about that compass. That it's one of those keepsakes that he still has on him because it's one of the last things he has from Varian. So for Anduin to drop and leave behind that compass is a symbolic showcase of how much total complete control the Jailer has over Anduin at this point. And the possibility that Anduin may not be saved if he is that far gone. Nice touch. I also find it, of course, interesting and kind of appropriate that the Jailer would be like, okay, so since you betrayed me, guess what? I'm giving you your soul back, and then I'm going to leave you to the mercy of these people who have been trying to capture you and perhaps execute you for the horrible crimes you have committed against them. So have fun dealing with that. It's just kind of appropriate. Also, you can tell the soul thing with Sylvanas because the blue eyes now replace the red eyes. So, anyways. So that's my kind of talk and discussion on the cutscene. I was going to save that for when we do the LFR fight, but we'll just go ahead and talk about it now. So again, I'll show the fight in a later video. So, but yeah. Anyways. What do you say we actually now do this questline and find out what happens? Especially now that we apparently are past the events of the raid, and we're going to see a follow-up involving Sylvanas now as our prisoner.
Dromka.
We can't let the Jailer win. Before Anduin followed the Jailer through the gateway, he dropped something. I am not sure what it was, but Jaina picked it up. Perhaps this is a sign that Anduin is still fighting back against the Jailer. We need to find out what this object was and why the young king left it out for us. I like how he's telling this to us as a Horde character. Because as a Horde character, we would not have done that questline in Legion, where we found the compass in the water that belonged to Varian and then bring it to Anduin and have that whole questline that was Alliance only, which led to that really cool cutscene with Anduin going to the Tomb of Sargeras and then getting a brief little visit from Varian in, I guess, the afterlife or whatever. Again, we still don't know to this day. But remember, Horde characters couldn't do that, so they wouldn't know. I would love to do this on Alliance character just to see whether or not, like, if I'm talking to Jaina about this, and if Jaina would be like, so do you remember that locket that you found? You know, or that, not locket, that compass? So, anyways.
Jaina, what was it that Anduin left behind?
A compass. It was a gift to his father. Varian had it with him just before we fought the Legion on the Broken Shore. I don't believe Anduin dropped it by accident. He must have wanted us to find it.
As a sign that he hasn't been fully dominated by the Jailer's power?
Okay, maybe I was
I
wrong.
believe it's more than that. I sense an enchantment upon the compass. Perhaps Anduin used the light to leave us a message. Bolvar, will you help us examine the compass?
Of course, Jaina.
Okay, so maybe I was wrong about the whole complete domination over
Is
Anduin.
imbued with a memory.
I sense it too. Very clever, Anduin. What did you want us to see?
The battle is almost upon us. I will deal with the invading forces atop Torghast. When we reach Oribus, you will defend Zoval while he completes the ritual.
You mean he will compel me to defend him? Each time he dominates my will, I feel myself slipping further away. Is this what you felt when Arthas raised you, Sylvanas? Hollow, empty, everything you once were, consumed by darkness.
Yes, young lion. But in the end, the sacrifices we've made will have been worth it. Once the cycle of life and death has been broken and remade, we will...
By that time, I'll have been lost. And so will you. I only hope my friends will remember me as I was, not what you made me to be.
No, Anduin. We won't lose you. I swear it.
Interesting. Interesting that she was able to actually have that conversation with him, even in that condition and state, because I thought he was always constantly in control of the jailer, but apparently there are moments where he is allowed to be himself, and not under direct control by the jailer. A la the head of the collectors in Mass Effect, assuming direct control.
Loktar.
Anduin Wrin does not deserve such a fate. We must fight to save him.
Let honor guide your path.
We stand together against the darkness.
Our efforts were focused on preventing the jailer from shattering the barrier around the Maw and invading the rest of the Shadowlands. Instead, he expanded the Maw itself to envelop Oribos and claim the Arbiter's sigil. I do not fully understand what we witnessed atop Torghast, but the Primus certainly does. It is time to enact his contingency plan. The Covenants will arrive with their sigils shortly. Inform the Primus that we are ready to begin.
So I should also point out there was a cutscene that was only available to Venthyr that I have seen on my Venthyr Demon Hunter, where after the quest that we did earlier, where the Dreadlords returned and we captured Mal'Ganis, I went back to Sinfall, and we used all the medallions to create the new Sigil of Revendreth. That was only available if I'm playing as a Venthyr. Just pointing that out. Now, I haven't done the Night Fae quest on my Night Fae Druid, and I haven't done the new Kyrian quest from last week on my Kyrian Paladin yet. If there's anything unique, I will, of course, try to capture that on camera, but I just haven't done that yet, so I don't know whether or not there's actually something to it. By the way, look at this. We're getting, I think, was that 2,500 anima? Or, no. 500,000. Okay, so 1,250, I guess. So, and more renown. So,
Fight for Azeroth.
War is at hand.
Your efforts have helped the Covenants remember their sacred purpose. The new sigils sigils they have manifested will allow me to forge a key to follow Zovaal to the land of the First Ones. Are you ready to begin? Begin.
The Covenants must stand as... Zovaal may have won the battle, but he will not win the war. We stand united in purpose, and together we shall claim victory. Covenants of the Shadowlands, step forward.
Moonberry, Draka, Uther, and the Stonewright. Claim the sigils. The Stonewright brought me the Revendreth sigil. Uther brought me the Kyrian sigil. Draka brought me the Necrolord sigil. And Moonberry brought me the Night Fae sigil. Primus,
Fate has drawn you here.
I present the sigils.
Not forsake your 4 covenants united. Our hope stands renewed. Speak, mortal.
Excellent, mortal. You have done your part. Now my work begins.
To save the Shadowlands.
What we witnessed in the Arbiter's chamber, it was beyond mortal understanding.
Once, Zovaal stood among us as the Arbiter, yet he defied the will of the First Ones and sought to unmake the balance of the cosmos. For his crimes, we stripped our brother of his power and bound him to the Maw. It was I who scribed the runes of domination upon his flesh. We used Zovaal's anima to construct a new Arbiter, one that would be dispassionate and just. I should have realized that he would never stop fighting to reclaim his power and see his schemes through to their bitter end.
What will his next move be?
Zovaal pursues the secrets locked within the sepulchre. Should he find the knowledge he seeks, all that you know will be undone. 4 sigils represent the renewed hope of the Covenants. I will use them to forge a key, though I must find something to replace the Arbiter's sigil. Keep pressing the attack against the Jailer's forces. When the key is ready, I will call for you. Death comes for the soul of your world, mortal. But together, we may yet save it.
So that was some interesting backstory we got there that we weren't told before. Oh, looks like Uther wants to talk. And others want to talk as well. So Zoval was the Arbiter. And then the Arbiter that we have now was made to basically not have the kind of ambitions and such that Zoval had. Now that's interesting.
My memories still haunt me, hero.
Uther reaches toward the wound beneath his chestplate. When Arthur struck me down, Frostmourne shattered my soul, but it was not divided into one part that was noble and another that was cruel. Rather, it was as if a portion of my consciousness remained frozen in time, while the rest of my soul carried on. To feel that missing fragment restored, well, it has caused me to reflect upon many of the choices that I have made.
My fate has not yet. By the light! Jaina Proudmoore, is that you?
Uther? Uther! A Kyrian! Of course, it suits you.
I barely recognized you, my lady. The last time we spoke was at...
Stratholme. After the calling.
I remember. You still think of him too, don't you? Even after all these years.
I've tried to put the past behind me. Now, with what's been done to Anduin, all those painful memories have flooded back again.
Memories are like mirrors. They show us parts of ourselves. Sometimes parts we'd like to forget. But you can choose what lessons to carry forward and what to leave behind.
I loved him, you know.
As did I. Take that love with you, Jaina. Let it lend you strength in dark times.
Thank you, Uther. Can you stay a while and talk? There's so much I'd like to share.
Aww, that's sweet. Seeing a moment between Uther and Jaina. And I'm sure she has to catch him up on a lot that's happened since the events of Stratholme, when they talked last time. That's nice.
There is much to be done.
What's this?
Greetings, my friend.
Friend? The elusive Anari has no friends.
I have been woefully misrepresented. I can be a good friend, a useful friend to those in need. And everyone is in need of something.
You more than most from what I hear. In fact, I imagine this conversation is merely a pretext for you to inquire what I know of Zereth Mortis.
Do you not long to see the realm of the First Ones for yourself?
One day, perhaps, if the purpose wills it.
Were you not assigned to Cortia for your intellect, your curiosity? Perhaps your purpose, my friend, is not to hoard knowledge, but to share it with those who would put it to use.
I admit there are so many theories to explore, so many discoveries to be made. No, I will not think of it. Be gone, broker. I need nothing from you.
Not today, perhaps, but one day you will. And when that time comes, I look forward to doing business.
Well, that was interesting.
There is much to be done.
I wonder where they are keeping Sylvanas. Could I actually go see her? Like, is there a jail cell somewhere on, say, Oribos or another location that they are keeping her in and I could go visit her? Well, I don't see any other possible stay a while and listen things going on here. Stay a while and listen. I was wrong. There are more. I just have to go around and find them. In fact, there's also something else over here. What is this? A misplaced Venthyr tome? What is this? A book appears to have been recently knocked off the table from the nearby Venthyr encampment. The Venthyr would likely appreciate you returning to them before one of the grommets use it for nesting material. Mal'Ganis!
I truly believe you are my only means of escape, mortal. I offered you an opportunity, one that you blithely refused. You will pay the price for crossing me. But first, there are more important matters that demand my attention. So enjoy this brief reprieve. It is the last you will ever know.
I should have known. Darn you, Mal'Ganis! It appears that you and Mal'Ganis are not done with one another. When you finally confront the jailer, you are certain the Dreadlord will be there as well. Ooh, that indicates to me that whatever the next raid is, Mal'Ganis is going to be a raid boss. Although I wonder, is it going to be just Mal'Ganis, or could it be like another council fight? Like, you know how we had the nine Valkyr who served Sylvanas in Sanctum? What if it's like the multiple remaining Dreadlords that still serve Denathrius and the Jailer? Like, what if it's not just Mal'Ganis, but other Dreadlords as well? That'd be interesting. Alright. Clearly, we'll have to prepare ourselves for dealing with the Dreadlords. A couple more Wild listens over here. Ooh, Thrall and Draka.
Well met.
Seeing the fate that awaits mortal souls in the Shadowlands, the chance to get to know my mother, it has caused me to reflect on choices that I have made.
And?
For Azeroth.
You have told me many stories of your life, Goel. It seems some of the memories trouble you.
Yes. I spoke of Garrosh, son of Gromarsh Hillscream. I'd hoped to spare him from the darkness his father knew. But instead, I fear I'm to blame for the ruin he unleashed.
Fate sets a course before each of us. How are you to blame for the destiny he wrought?
I took him from Nagrand. I made him war chief. But when he needed me most, I left him to falter. And in the end, it was my hand that struck him down.
Your father used to say that a wolf decides whether to come when called, or to turn on its master. There is no fault, only nature taking its course. Garrosh shows his path, my son.
But I set him upon it.
You offered him a choice. You did not choose for him. Mourn if you must, but his decisions are not your burden to bear. His path ended. Yours moves onward.
Onward. Yes. There is much to be done. Thank you, Mother.
Nice words there from Draka. Very nice. It's something that we as players have talked about for a number of years, is how responsible Thrall is for what Garrosh did and naming him War Chief in the first place, which I will agree was kind of a, I don't want to say stupid, but very, very ill-advised, when others like Vol'jin were, and others, including Cairn, were like, No, don't make this idiot Garrosh War Chief. Are you insane, Thrall? And, his hero worship of Grom just, unfortunately, just kept, having him think, no, this is the right choice. But it's nice to hear Draka be like, look, he made his choices. You may have set him upon it, but you just offered him a choice, but you didn't make those choices for him. He made those choices. He was the one who made those decisions, not you. Which I agree. And it's one of the reasons why I, still, am glad that they went ahead with this whole Garrosh wasn't corrupted or any of that, that he made those choices. He was awful, and it was all him. And I'm fine with that. Ah, looks like we're going to get a bit here involving the Mograines.
All is not lost.
One can only wonder how many secrets were lost forever when the jailer ensnared Korthia within the maw. The toll of his misdeeds take truly has no end.
We will see it through.
So,
to the bitter
Tyrion
end.
Fordring took up the Ashbringer in my absence. I can think of few more worthy.
Indeed. He met the Lich King in battle and shattered Frostmourne itself.
And yet you sought to raise him into undeath. Why deny him the rest he had earned?
I once told Tyrion that only a silver hand can wield an ebon blade. We needed a fourth horseman, one to lead the others. He seemed the right choice.
It appears fate chose differently. This is not the legacy I meant to leave you, Darien.
You taught me to defend that which I hold dear. I'm proud to carry on such a legacy.
And I am proud of you, my son.
Aww. That's sweet. I wonder... I can't help but wonder, because, let's be honest, there are games like this that have these kind of little things that I think is really cool, and I like it when they actually go ahead and do that in these games. I would love it if, let's say I'm here on my Paladin, who has done that stuff in Legion. Because remember, my Paladin got the Ashbringer from Tyrion. So my Paladin would be the current wielder of the Ashbringer. I know the Ashbringer lost its power at the end of Legion, that's not the point. I still use it, like as a transmog, because it's the Ashbringer. And I would love it if I was here on my Paladin, and he looks at me and he's like, so, you're the current wielder of the Ashbringer now. Like, he acknowledges that. I would love it if that was the case, if he looked upon me and acknowledged that I am now the current wielder of the Ashbringer. You know, I would just love that. But anyway, that's just me. I just love little things like that, little tidbits of info and dialogue. Alright, so let me take a look around, see if there's any more little things of dialogue here. Any more of these little stay a while and listen. Because you guys know how much I love finding those. Just love those little extra tidbits. It's not super relevant, but it's nice little extra bits here and there. It looks like that is it. There is no more. Okay, so that is it. That is... I wonder why it's not acknowledging that I have finished this. I don't know. It could be a bug or something, but anyways. That is it for the Sanctum of Domination campaign. I'm not really sure what they're going to be doing going forward story-wise, but who knows with what's going on. I imagine this, of course, was going to be set up for what's going to be happening going forward, but, you know, who knows how long that's going to be. Now, there is still more for me to show you guys, of course. As I said, Wing 3 of LFR is now up and available. So I am more than likely, in the next part of this playthrough, going to be showing you Wing 3 of LFR Sanctum of Domination, which will feature Guardian of the First Ones, Fate Scribe, and Kel'Thuzad, which I will talk about when we get there. So stay tuned.